Richie Lewis is in the building. What's good, Richie? How you doing?
What's up, King? Just got done, living a lifestyle out here in Miami, downtown, just enjoying life, being grateful, and ready to go win another belt.
Let's go, bro. I bet, man. How's the training going so far? I guess we could start there for your fight. You do have, so for people who don't know, and it's in South Dakota, correct?
Yeah, Sanford, Pentagon, Falls, South Dakota, beautiful state, a lot of money there. People park their money there, and I'm always working a few angles, so I like to play in South Dakota.
Yeah. 100%, bro. So yeah, he be having his title defense, which is gonna be super dope, man. I'm gonna definitely be checking it out. I actually wanted to try to get up there, man, to see the fight. South Dakota's cool. It's a nice little spot. It's really nothing out there, but it's cool. The people are cool out there. I went out there for some biker stuff a while back, but um, bro, you're a journeyman, man. When it comes to wrestling and all types of stuff, bro, you've been around for a minute. And you, like I said, you've been running through LFA champ right now. You've been doing your thing, but take us back a little bit, like where was a turning point where you kind of knew like, all right, look, I'm actually built for this, this MMA stuff, because you started in wrestling. Um, it did a lot at NCAA. You were at Rutgers. You also represented USA. So what was that like, that turning point? Like, I'm really built for this MMA stuff. I'm gonna take it serious.
Man, I always knew. I actually didn't even want to go to college to wrestle, but my mom really wanted me to get a good degree, so I ended up at Iowa Central. Where the legends went, man. John Jones, Cain Velasquez, Colby Covington, Phil Hall, Pat myself, and I ended up I always knew fighting was for me. I'm from River, with Frankie as my coach. It just was a matter of when. And then I ended up being way better at wrestling than I loved the sport. So I
Yeah.
in it. Obviously, I won a world championship when I was 22. I was fourth on the Olympic ladder. I was 20, and just I got an injury. God willing, actually, I got that injury because that was kind of the catalyst for me to change when I was 24 years old to take a little bit of time off and transition to MMA. Just because I kept winning, and so I might have like pushed it off further if I didn't get that injury. So it was about when I was 24 that I was ready to commit. I was training at Henzo Gracie's in New York City with the one and only
Yes,
president,
sir.
and I was training with him for about 2 years, jiu-jitsu, because I knew I had to get a good base training with the best in the world, Ryan, Danaher, Gary Tony, and then Asim. And then when I was 26, yeah, he hit me up, was like, "Yo, I'm opening up this gym uh, in Florida. Like, will you come out and teach a clinic?" And I think he really just wanted to get me down there to be part.
Yeah.
I coached a clinic and stayed for 1 week for like 2 months, and that's kind of when I knew, like, man, this is my place for me, and fighting's what I want to do, and it's my destiny.
Yeah. That's super dope. Hey, do me a favor, bro. Can you turn your phone to the side? It's kind of messing with your mic a little bit. I think from it being yeah, just turn it a little bit. There you go.
Is this better?
Yeah, I can hear you much better now. Yeah, yeah. I don't want it to cut in and out through the interview. They can hear what you're saying.
Oh my bad.
Um, but yeah, you should be Gucci now, man. But yeah, that's interesting. So you started with a scene. Are you still at Ghost Shed? I know I seen a video of you the other day tearing somebody up at Ghost Shed. You had to do running out the gym. But are you still at Ghost Shed? Because I know you did spend some time at Kill Cliff. Are you still there?
Yeah, so I started my career at Goat Shed the first year about, and then I moved up to Kill Cliff kind of for a change of pace, and and it worked, man. I got really good for 2 years, and then I came back home to the Goat Shed. I've been back for 3 4 months, and the sky's the limit. I'm noticing changes not only in my fighting ability, but in my lifestyle, the energy, the people that I'm around. Yeah, I'm full time at Goat Shed. Camp's going good, and Awesome's pushing me. Obviously, I'm training with Shazabe. I'm training with Arturo. These karate combat guys, and
Yeah.
I'm doing my thing there, man. And I think a lot of people are going to be surprised at the product that we put out consistently with fighters.
Yeah, I mean, Ghost Shed is y'all record speaks for itself. Like people could say what they want about the gym, the virality, like what they do, and like how they don't like the way you guys go about stuff and how wild the gym is. But at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding, right? If you go look at the records, it's a crazy winning streak. It's a crazy winning side versus the losing side of the bouts, right? You got a lot of UFC prospects in there on the women's and male side, right? And speaking of that, right, UFC, like you've been very vocal, like about like wanting to be up in the UFC. Do you feel like after this fight and this title defense in South Dakota that it's really time for them to kind of like bump you up to maybe Tough or Dana White Contender Series?
For sure, man. I think it's been time. They offered me a contract when I was 3-0 to be on the Ultimate Fighter. I didn't think that I was ready yet, so I went out and coached on Conor McGregor's team. I got a call not too long ago to go on short notice, but it was just didn't work out. I was a little bit too heavy, so I know I'm at the top of the list. I think in the beginning of my career, I really proved who I was, and I had a lot of momentum. And sometimes when you're really talented and things are going really well for you, when you first start something, you have this meteoric rise just off of like natural ability. And then when you hit that phase of those next 2 years where you're actually learning what the sport is, who you should put yourself around, what agents, what opportunities, things get a little clumsy. But during that time, I really went inward and focused on myself and self mastery.
He might have got a call. Self mastery. That's where he stopped at. Just so I remember.
That's good self mastery there, Ken.
Disciplined.
Honestly, yeah, it's a very important aspect. And I'm definitely on the Savage hype train. I think that he could be a UFC champion one day. He's got the potential for it.
100%. Well, it looked like we lost Richie for a sec. He probably be coming back, but was saying some good stuff, man. And I also think too, man, he does, man. His wrestling is absolutely insane. Have you ever seen this man wrestling from like Rutgers and just also he was in pit submission. If you guys didn't see, he did pit submission like maybe like 2 or 3 pit submissions ago.
Yeah, it was Lance
Um,
Palmer.
yeah, against Lance Palmer. I think what Lance Palmer's what PFL guy was
Yeah,
he?
Yeah, but
two-time
it
PFL
wasn't
champ.
even.
Yeah. Well, we were just talking about your pit submission, so I mean, I guess. But you stopped on self mastery. You said you were learning self mastery as well.
Yeah, and I was just on this self journey, and yeah, so basically for the first 2 years, sometimes when you get really good at something, and it's not just natural, you have to refine yourself, and things get a little clumsy. But during that time, I really developed myself to be ready, and I'm doing things on my terms, right? I notice a lot of people try and think about this cookie cutter way. Okay, I'm gonna go do LFA. I'm gonna go do this. But if you look at the best guys, if you look at Conor McGregor, you look at Habib, you look at Hamza, you look at Ilya, you look at Diego Lopez now, they're doing their things their way, and each way is different, and that's what makes it special. People
Yeah.
are asking me, "Oh, what are you doing? When's UFC call? When's this gonna happen?" Right? This is my plan, and it looks different because no one's ever done it, and then that's what's
Hmm.
gonna make it special. You feel me?
Yeah. That's what's up, man. Create your own lane and stay in it, man. I tell people that all the time. Create your own lane and stay in it, man. Eventually, it's gonna catch on, and you're gonna find people that's gonna like what you're doing. They're gonna jack what you're doing. So that's dope, bro. That's cool to hear, man. And I think like I was telling them before you cut out earlier that you are top talent, right? You do deserve to get that shot. And you have very dominant wrestling. And at this point right now, if you look at all the champions right now, what are they all really good at, right? For the most part, right? I think 80% of the champions right now in the UFC are all got there by very dominant wrestling, right? Islam Makhachev, you got Marab Dwalishvili. You got but Panto's is decent in BJJ. He doesn't really utilize it as much. He like the brawl too.
Ankalaev,
Ankalaev, another
John
one, right?
Jones, who went to the same
Yeah,
John
John
college.
Jones,
Jones,
yeah.
right? Like so all of it is very heavy base. So I know I see it. I definitely want to be paying attention to your LFA fight and see that. We were talking about too, pit submission, right? You did pit submission in karate combat. How was that for you? How was that experience? I like hearing people's like how they feel about getting in the pit because it's a different ball game once you get in there. So what was it like doing the pit submission in series? And you had a good formidable opponent, Lance Palmer. Shout out him. You guys put on a good show. But how was that, bro? How was that experience?
Yeah, man, it's awesome. Just it's next level from the production to the people involved to the fights that are happening to the crowd. It's definitely the future of not only karate but the future of combat sports. I think they should switch Brazilian Jiu Jitsu over completely to the pit. I loved competing in it. It's nonstop. I would like to actually get a karate combat fight. maybe even do like an MMA fight in the future in the pit. Like you never know what's gonna happen. Obviously, I got my eyes on the UFC, but I think that there really is nothing better than the pit aside from an octagon for fighting. You know.
Yeah.
Would LFA allow you to take a karate combat fight?
Yeah, yeah. Ed Swaros is the owner of LFA, and we have a very good relationship. And he promotes me well, and I think that he's a fighters owner, you know, and he wants to put guys in UFC. He wants to put guys uh, in front of people and promote them. At the end of the day, what's his job? He's a promoter. He wants me to defend my belt. He wants me to win on the LFA banner and represent it at the next level in the UFC. And I think that call is going to come right after this fight, so I probably won't be able to do too much in the pit.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been gracious with me. Actually, as soon as I got done with my fight against Lance Palmer, he was the first person that called me and was like, "I need you to do that in the LFA octagon." And that was amazing. He's like, "I want you to get on top of Mount, guys. You do that, no one's gonna be able to stop you." You know, I had a 15-minute conversation with him right after, and a lot of these promoters, you know, they get a bad rap because this that, but man, they're if you do good by them, they're supportive people, and they're just looking for one thing, the best product, and
Yeah.
that's me, and that's what I'm going to provide for them. So I have a fantastic relationship with them.
Yeah, that's fire.
A lot of karate combat fighters that come from a karate background that have also fought in like MMA or kickboxing say the thing that they feel the pit resembles the most is like tatami, the mats of like sport karate, just without the issue of the out of bounds. A lot of jujitsu people also say that. From your wrestling background, do you feel the same that the pit kind of feels more like a wrestling mat without out of bounds than anything else?
I feel like it's a mixture between a wrestling mat and the canvas, but I think they should switch wrestling over to the pit. I would much rather wrestle in the pit. I'm about nonstop action, and if you know me, you know I'm a pressure fighter, and
Yep.
I don't get tired, and my style is perfect for it, and that's why I'm very good in an octagon. You know, there's no out of bounds, there's nowhere you can go when a savage is coming after you, and I like. If you watch my fights, I'm in the center of the cage. I'm controlling. This is my cage, and I put guys on their back foot, and I put them on the edge in the pit. It's the pit in the octagon. It's the cage, and they can't do much, and that's my style, and that's what I like. So, yeah, if I had a preference, I compete in the pit in the octagon every time in any sport, any combat sport.
While we on this subject of the pit and competing in the pit with grappling, we just talked about it earlier too. The big announcement Craig Jones made was and I would definitely hear your opinion because you're somebody who comes from NCAA wrestling, right? But you've also trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with Gracie and down in Ghost Shed. It's mandatory that all of the fighters do Jiu-Jitsu. Y'all all train in grappling. So, what do you think about this Gable Stevenson versus Craig Jones matchup, which they use a CGI? They'll be using the pit as well. What do you think about this matchup? You got NCAA guy versus a jiu-jitsu guy. Where do you see it going?
Well, I mean, it's in jiu-jitsu, so obviously I'm going to give Craig Jones the nod. He's one of the best jiu-jitsu practitioners I believe ever. On a note of Gable Stevenson, there's a lot of names that come up when you talk about the greatest of all time in wrestling: Usavar Saitiev, John Smith, Jordan Burroughs, and Gable Stevenson tops that list in my opinion. I've been around the world. I mean, I've trained with Khabib, I've trained with Islam, I've trained with Gordon Ryan, I've trained with Jordan Burroughs, I've trained and I've competed against the best in the world. I'm a world champion, right? And the best grappling feel, like in terms of wrestling that I've ever felt, definitely has been from Gable. He guy's a heavyweight, and he can move with me and move light. But from a technical standpoint, I think Gable is the greatest, honestly, of all time. So when it comes down to that match, I think it's kind of like Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor type deal, you know.
Yeah.
So
It's
I'm
a big matchup, but it's kind of a little heavily leaned on one side.
Yeah, correct. I think it'll be fun for the fans, but and I don't think it. I think it only adds to the sport of wrestling, and of grappling. So I think it's good for the sport, but yeah, I got Craig Jones in that match, but Gable's the GOAT of wrestling for sure.
Yeah. 100%. I agree, man. We were talking about that earlier. I think that's the sentiment we all have. It's kind of tough for you to come into that world of submission grappling and stuff like that from the wrestling because it's like more control points, pins and stuff like that. So it's gonna be interesting though. I'm gonna love to see. I went to the last CGI. It was crazy.
Yeah, if I have
Insane.
the opportunity, man, I'm actually looking. I'm looking to make my name across all combat sports. I'm a wrestling world champion. I'm looking to be an MMA world champion, and hey, who knows? Maybe I'll be a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion one day. And
Oh,
that's been starting off in the pit. So if I can get with more pit submission matches, more karate combat matches, maybe CJI if it fits, put me in there because I'll take out anyone, man.
yeah.
The best jiu-jitsu practitioners in the world in my weight class. It really doesn't matter, man. I know who I am, and I know that I'm the best in the world in multiple different sports, and I'm just taking my opportunities as they come. And now I'm calling my shot. CJI, you want a new champion? You bring my line.
Hey, that'd be dope, man. Hopefully Craig is in Dubai. I'm gonna show him this clip. Craig, don't fade my man Richie, bro.
I
Don't
seen Craig
fade Richie.
yesterday. Actually, he's in Miami. I seen him in Volk
Oh, he's
yesterday.
in Miami.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about you getting on pit submission could actually work out because you have your fight now. Granted, no injuries. We always praying for that, right? They'll be doing probably June, July, and August in Miami. So, that's right hometown. That's easy money for you.
And who knows, man? Maybe President Awesome wants to make a belt for pit submission. I know Karate Combat got a belt, so I could be the first champion for pit submission.
Hey, that would be fire. I think it's about time. We've had quite a few fights in there. I think Craig Jones is honestly gonna be. I think he has the most wins in pit submission right now. So they gotta put him up on the rankings too. That'd be done. Hey, would you take on Craig Jones?
Line him up. I'll put him down.
Let's go. I was looking at the pickers. Pickers, what you got for him?
Yeah, you mentioned you had just been back at the Goat Shed and you started off there. I've seen some of the craziest scramble videos from those Goat Shed jiu-jitsu rolls that I've ever seen in my life. I want to know, in your opinion, who's the best scrambler at the Goat Shed, other than you?
I think
obviously.
I think I know the answer to this.
I'll just say
Can I
Richie
write it
Lewis.
down to see if I get it right? Hold on.
Write it down. Write it down.
I'm gonna write it down.
Write it
Hold
down,
on.
and then I'll tell you.
I'm
I
gonna
got
write it
two.
down.
I got
All right.
two.
All right. I'm gonna see if one of these makes. I'm done.
All right, Chris Alvidra is the main character.
Okay.
And Roy Echeverria. Julio.
Black Rock.
Oh,
Black Rock.
Okay.
I have Black Rock up there, but I can respect both of those answers. Roy is insane, and Alvidrez is
They had that one video. Guy was in a standing guillotine, and he like did a flip to get out of it or something. I don't even remember.
That's Boris Novatskov, one of my good friends. He
Wow.
represented Bulgaria. He was a multiple-time All-American and full-time wild man.
Who was the dude you was choking out that you had running out of the door? Go Shed.
In the viral video?
Yeah. Let's see if I can find it. That's who?
Sam Kilmer.
Sam Kilmer. Oh, okay. Was he like? Is he an actual fighter? Or he's just like a
Sam Kilmer trains at my gym. He trains at 8088. Crazy 88.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's insane. Huh? Let's see if I can find a video. Yeah, those videos are insane. You see a lot of BlackRock's been going crazy. I told him you gotta stop bullying people at Go Shed, bro. He's been wrestling since he was like 5 years old or some crazy shit.
Yeah, he was like a junior world team member. He actually helped me prep for pit submission. He's next level. He's next level. Once he gets in the gym and stays focused and strings together some camps and some fights, he's a guy that's top 15 UFC talent.
Yeah. And no, I got one more question. Hold on, because I have to see this shit now. I need to know. I keep seeing this. What did he say to you here, bro? What did Awesome say to you in this picture?
I don't know, but that fight was the most insane fight I believe in Goat Shed history. Richie Lewis versus Ernesto Rodriguez. My dog Mahmoud Sebi is fighting him for the Tough Enough belt. But it was just like everyone was talking about the Goat Shed. We had just started out, and they're just like saying we take easy fights or this, that. Everyone has opinion, and it's my second fight ever, and I'm taking on a guy that has a 2-0 record. Now he's 9-1. He's undefeated amateur, and I've been fighting for maybe 11 months, and I took this fight against a top prospect, and it just really put Goat Shed on the map, and it stamped who we are and what we represent. So I knew Awesome was just hype. I don't even know if he was saying anything, man. I just know that he was proud of me, and he was so happy because as a coach, he can't go out there and fight. The only thing that he can do is teach us and then trust us to do our job. And he took a risk by letting me take that fight. But when you put a risk inside of my hands, I'm going to take it.
Yeah. And here's BlackRock's crazy ass. This I mess. Hey, look, where is it? It's right here. I said, "Stop bullying people, BlackRock," and then he said, "He said, I think I tried to kill him, man." Yeah.
Yeah, that boy is strong. You can hear me,
Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. We can hear you. I'm gonna stop sharing this real quick so I can pull you back over here. But yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, man. But yeah, that seems like to be another thing that is like a consistent trend with y'all. Gus fought that kid. I can't remember his name. Um, the kid was a prospect. They were talking about him. He's the next one. There's like top 3 guys in this to go to the LFC. I meant to the LFA. I meant to the UFC. And the guy Gustavo Villamil was fighting was supposed to be going to the UFC, and Gus guillotine choked him out in like the first round.
I mean, and that's really what we do, man. Like, we train and we build a team, and it's an individual sport, but you get your team around you, and you practice with your teammates, you practice with your coaches, and you kind of like test your theory of martial arts and your theory of combat against another individual, but against another team's camp. And when you face challenges like that, honestly, it's the biggest catalyst for growth, and that's why I'm most excited for my LFA fight right now, because I know that how this guy is revered. I know he has a little bit of power. I know people think he's tough, and we're the top 2 prospects in the weight. So it's something that I look forward to, and it's a challenge, and it's been a catalyst for great growth for me. So I look forward to having a dominant performance and showing the world who I am, and specifically Dana White.
Yeah. Shout out Dana. Uncle Dana. See my boy. I'm gonna
Bang
be out
that
there.
line, Dana. Bang that line.
I'll be out there next week for the fights. Shout out your teammate Alberto Montes having his UFC debut on UFC 314. That's gonna be super dope to see him fight on that. That's gonna be a crazy card. But I'm gonna swing it back to Pickers because I think he still have more questions. I want to hog up the interview. You're muted, brother. Your mic's muted. Yeah, I don't know if you're double muted. We
Nah,
can't hear you, bro.
I can't hear him either.
We can't hear you. Let me see something. Remove. Add. Oh, actually. There you go. Let me see. What about now? Nope. Yeah, we can't hear you.
Yeah, maybe put him out and then have him hit back in. That's what I did when I
Yeah.
got.
Just drop back out and come back in. Yeah. We'll get him back in here. Mac, did you have any more questions for him? I got a few more, but
Yeah, just curious. What are your thoughts about like the difference between learning more like the traditional Dutch kickboxing style at Kill Cliff, adapted for MMA, versus Goat Shed's more MMA striking karate combat hybrid style?
I think that for me, Asim is the best coach. He knows how to refine me. We're under the same system of Henzo Gracie, John Danaher. We kind of think the same way. So in terms of refinement and going in the exact direction I need to go, it's the best place for me. I think that that Dutch kickboxing style was much needed. I did a year at Goat Shed when I first started fighting, and I just kind of got my bearings, got a couple fights in, and then I knew that I needed something different. So I moved to Kill Cliff, and the speed there of just the fighters, the UFC guys, uh, it was another level. Honestly, from when we had first opened up. Obviously, now we have a whole stable of guys here at Goatched, and when I went there, man, I couldn't beat anyone. I couldn't strike with anyone. I'm getting dropped by Nick Lance, Sean Soriano, these top UFC guys. I couldn't keep up, and it took me about 3 months to get the speed. And then with the Dutch kickboxing style, you have to just continue to do repetition, 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 repetition. You have to be durable. You have to build your body. And then obviously, I had a great coach in Saeed Saparov, who's a sambo guy from Russia, and I trained with him, and I trained with Nick Lance, and I trained with Henry, and I trained with Robbie Lawler, and then the sparring is just like nonstop. So after about 3 months, I started getting some wins in, and then after 6 months, I started beating most of the guys, and then after a year and a half there, I mean, I'm not scared to say it. I think I was the best guy in the room, and I got exactly what I needed from Kill Cliff, and I'm so grateful for Henry and the coaches there, because they've taught me so much, and they really refined me, and they helped turn me into a different person. Uh, And then after that year and a half, 2 year stint, you know, I had another child. I had a daughter. I wanted to be back in that spotlight in Miami and come back home. Goat Shed is my home, and I knew it was time to come back with awesome, because you need different things in different seasons of your life, and for that season, it served its purpose, and it was amazing. And now there's a new season, and it's the Savage season. It's
Let's
the
go.
Savage era. And
I got
Savage
one more,
era.
but
Once, hold on, let me get Pickers back
yeah,
in here
I was going to
first.
just say that Pickers
Boom,
is.
boom. There we go. All right. Can we hear you now, Pickers?
Yep. You
Yep.
hear me?
All right, cool. Yep.
Perfect. Okay. Sorry about that.
Hold on. Mac got one more, and then we're gonna let you end it off.
Oh, by all means.
Yeah, just fighters like Henry Cejudo and George St. Pierre always talked about like the benefits of cross training and like point karate, that like legit point karate that actually knows how to adapt that for MMA. Says that it's very good. It helped them a lot with setting up takedowns and using their wrestling in MMA. Is that something you would want to cross train in, especially maybe even leading up to your karate combat fight?
For
If you
sure.
do that?
For sure, man. I mean, I'm training with Shazab, and it's definitely a different feel. When I first, right before I started MMA, I was down in Miami doing ADCC camp with Mo Jossam. They call it Modofo camp, and they brought out Henry, and I was training with Henry for like 2 weeks, and he taught me about all the ranges. So he taught me when you're in boxing, wrestling range, when you're in that Dutch kickboxing range, and then he taught me being on the outside in that karate range. So I actually, when I started my career, used those staples and those footwork from Henry, from McGregor, how they use the range, because it's a different fight if we're right next to each other versus if we're at this Dutch kickboxer range versus if we're in karate, and they're all useful. And I think the best guys in the sport, like you're saying, Henry Cejudo and George St. Pierre, they know how to blend those ranges, and that causes a lot of trouble for guys, especially in MMA. So I think it's something that's very useful, and it's something that I'm very good at. I don't know if you've seen all my fights, but I could be on the other side of the cage and put someone all the way across in 1 second, and that's because I understand distance.
Yeah.
That's also why I don't get hurt. You know, if you watch my fights, I got hit with one headbutt. That's the only time I ever been hurt in a fight. I broke my nose against Ernesto. Then I finished him after that, but I mean, I'm landing hundreds of punches to 10, 15 in all my fights, because I understand distance, I understand that karate range, and I know how to get in it and get out of it very quickly and stay safe. So I attribute a lot of my style to karate. Actually, my first sport before wrestling was Taekwondo. So
And
Super dope.
with that mastery of range, you'll still be articulate even after your MMA career is done.
what was that?
You'll still be articulate, even like you'll still speak as well as you do now. And
You won't have as much CTE.
100%, man. And I take care of my body. I'm healthy, and you know, something that I want to do in MMA is become a UFC champion, so I could change my family's life. And I want to be there for my children, and I want to teach my son martial arts. I want to spend time with my daughter and my wife and my parents, and have a homestead. Like this, there's, like I said before, there's a season for everything, and this is the season that I'm in, is martial arts. I actually, not to get too segued off, but I want to have a homestead, and that's what I'm gonna do when I'm done with this. But I wrote down, like, maybe 6 months ago, I was trying to figure out, like, okay, like, who are you? Where do you want to be?
Yeah.
How do you want to get there? And my whole life, I've been chasing a UFC championship since I was 13 years old. That's been the only thing on my mind. The wrestling was kind of just a byproduct of it. Uh, and when I started asking myself these questions, the first thing that I wrote when it said, "Who do you want to be?" It says, "I want to be a lifelong martial artist." And the second thing that I wrote was, "I will become a UFC champion. I want to be a UFC champion." And then that's kind of when, like, my life flipped upside down, and like my perspective changed, because I'm like, wow, this whole time I've been chasing this material gold belt, this glory, like something that I want to prove to, like, my parents, all my coaches, my family, the world. And when I was by myself and really reflecting, I'm like, man, I want to be a martial artist for my whole life, and I want to be on this journey of self mastery, and I still will become a UFC champion, but that's just gonna be a season and a byproduct of the journey, you know.
That's
It's
dope, man.
definitely a journey for life, and I definitely am a big believer that you have all the tools and all the potential to actually earn that UFC belt one day. Peckers.
And let me go real quick, and thank you for saying that, because and specifically the potential part, because I've always had a lot of potential, and obviously I've always performed well, but an LFA belt is just a byproduct. The Titan belt is just a byproduct, right? I want to become a UFC champion. I want to be a lifelong martial artist, and I once I was able to free myself from the bounds of one specific thing, uh, it allowed me to bring the energy of my full potential out, and that's part of the reason why I got back with Asim at the Goat Shed, because he really brings that out of me, and like we have such a great connection, and he's honestly the best coach that I've ever been with in my life, and it's a self journey, but this guy brings that out of me, and I'm so grateful for it, and I feel like you're gonna see, the real Richie Lewis in there moving forward. Not that you haven't, but just I'm free, and the energy's ready to come out, and I'm excited.
Yeah, a lot of people see Awesome's persona on social media, but they don't see like that connection that he really has with his fighters and how great of a coach he is, not just technically, but on that personal level, creating a connection with his fighter. That's why he's so picky of who becomes a pro fighter for him, because he needs that connection with that fighter to really bring out the best of them.
Correct, man. And then that's a stepping stone that I got to prove in the gym every day, and prove it to myself, and just you know having that self talk and removing self doubt and going when you're tired, and just like just everything that we do, man. You wouldn't believe it, the stimulus that keep like to get something that you need to apply the right stimulus to yourself to do it. It's not just gonna appear, right? Obviously the mind's the most powerful thing in the world, it tells your body what to do, but you need to like have repetition and introduce the right stimuli, and then have the right self-talk, and then have the right technique to apply it under different pressures, under different conditions, under different circumstances, and that's been the biggest change that has been happening at the Goat Shed with Awesome. He's just been introducing the right stimuli, and he's taking me to another level, and I'm fucking taking flight.
Yeah, Boss Rutan always talks about the good voice and the bad voice when it comes to fighting, and learning how to ignore the bad voice and just listen to the good voice in fighting. That's why when I was boxing, I found that like the biggest advantage of solo road work was in running was less about the cardio, because it's a different type of cardio for fighting, but it was also it was getting you in shape and cutting weight, but it was also that mental aspect of you're alone with your thoughts when you're running by yourself, and it only you are deciding how hard you're going and what you're there for and why you're suffering and what is in your mentality, and you're fighting those bad voices.
And it took me 29 years to get to that point, and to be comfortable with those voices, and not attach emotions to things that you're thinking, and have that mastery over your mind, and be comfortable in it, and now I live in it, and now I'm happy, man. I'm the happiest I've ever been, and a lot
That's
of that
dope.
is that self talk and that self belief, and understanding yourself, and knowing what to do, staying positive, continuing thinking good thoughts. If you think a bad thought, I have this practice actually that I do, that I close my eyes and I begin to meditate. And when I first started, I see thoughts that I can't really articulate or attribute like specific things to, because it's unorganized in the beginning, and I practiced seeing them and letting them go, and then they became organized when I was meditating, and then I started to see them across a line. And when I would see them, I'd focus on my breath, and instead of think about them, I would allow them to pass, whether it was good or whether it was bad. And then I started to not attach emotion to it, and then that's how I was able to like control what I was thinking, and then when you start to think more positive, it really compounds. And I believe in the power of the mind and the power of manifestation, but not like the manifestation is, oh, I believe I'm going to do this, and then it's just going to happen. The power of like thinking about it and making it happen, and a lot of that is controlling your thoughts and then willing them into action, you know.
Yeah, that's why in karate they put such a big focus on uh, training your mind and meditation, and even learning how to breathe properly and knowing the correct ways of breathing is all that benefits that you've learned on your own.
For sure, man. And like even when you want to release different energies, you have different breaths. You know, if I want to hear, if I want,
Hmm.
you
Yeah,
know,
that's what Kia is all about. But I love this conversation, but I've been taking up way too much time. I gotta let my boy MMA Pickers go with his question.
No, that was good. I was taking notes. That was great. Can you tell me a little about Aper Fitness? I saw you wearing some fight gear from them.
yeah. So Aper Fitness was a brand that I started with the co-founder Gerasimos Galiotsados, and he was actually like my coach for the longest time. We did everything together. So throughout all the gyms that I've been to, he was with me. We parted ways like maybe a year and a half ago. But I started Aper Fitness with him. It took like 3 years to take off. We started it probably like 2018, and then when we moved to Miami, we just started getting like really good wholesale accounts and doing good on retails. I mean, if you've seen my Titan fight, we actually rented a booth. We sponsored the event. We're doing like 5 figures in merch. We built the company up to about $250,000 yearly, year over year. And then it was great. It was just a lot of work, and I really wanted to focus on nothing but fighting. And there were some other things that had happened, and we had dissolved the brand. So yeah, it was a good brand, and it taught me so much about business. It was the first business that I had done that was successful, and actually it funded that and crypto funded like my whole life. I mean, I live. I'll show you. I'll show you where I live. I live in a nice apartment like downtown.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
like it's not like I'm some broke ass fighter that I'm only getting paid. You only get paid like 5 grand in the beginning, 2 grand for fights, and it's a hard life for a lot of people. And I was able to kind of like pay for the best coaching, fly around the world, take the best opportunities through Aper Fitness, and learn a lot about business. And then I was like, man, I can't be deterring my time between two different things. So we had dissolved it, and I went all in, man, this past year on MMA, and these are the fruits of my labor, and I'm much happier, and I'm focused on my main goal. And I have great partners. Obviously, Awesome is my coach, but he's also my promoter. I have a great agent, AJ Ariosa, um, and yeah, I just learned a lot through Able Fitness, and it was great while I did it. But I have to focus on what I have to focus on, and I'm gonna use those lessons that I learned in the future. You're gonna see me do some pretty sick business stuff.
Oh.
Oh yeah, I love that. That's fantastic. And I was lucky enough to be pit side when you were grappling with Lance Palmer, and I mean, you look like freaking Khabib out there. It was absolutely. I think you probably had 3 full rounds of control time. What would your dream grappling match be if you could have anybody you wanted in the pit?
Who's the number one guy at 77 kilo right now? I would like to fight Mika Galvao.
Ooh.
Yeah, if I could. He has a great wrestling feel. He's obviously like I put him pound for pound number 2 under Gordon Ryan. Um, I'm not sure at this exact moment if I would be able to beat him in a jiu-jitsu match or under what rule sets, but he would definitely be a dream matchup for me. I know in wrestling I'd smoke him, but in jiu-jitsu, shit, we could find out. I have a lot of respect for that kid. He's young, he's hungry, he's coming up. I watched every one of his ADCC matches last week. He's probably my favorite jiu-jitsu practitioner right now. So I would love to compete against him, and yeah, I think I could beat him, to be honest.
That's a great answer, and after watching you in the pit, it would be hard to disagree. And then one more for me, and I'll get out of your hair. We've talked a lot today about your aspirations to be UFC champion, maybe some phone calls you've had with the UFC with some offers here and there. When that time does come and when you feel like you're ready to take that jump, who's someone you could realistically see yourself debuting against, or someone you could see yourself having your first fight against in the UFC?
Man, whoever they put me up against, this is what I want to do. Give me my first contract, put me on some good cards like on pay-per-views, MSG, put me in LA, put me in Vegas, T-Mobile Arena, put me down at the Casaya Center. Put me against anybody, but put me on some good cards. I'll take out a top prospect or I'll take out a journeyman. It doesn't really matter to me. And then as soon as that second contract hits, put me against the guy in the top 15.
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as you pay me six figures, I'll jump in the top 15. I'm ready for it right now, but I'm no fool. I'm here to get paid.
Yeah. That's smart, man. You gotta play it. You gotta play it. You gotta play it smart, man. It's your career and your life on the line, right? You're making big decisions. Pickers, you said that was your last one.
But all these guys right now in the UFC, man, you could put me toe to toe against any of them right now, and I know that for a fact because I've trained with the best in the world. I've been with Conor McGregor. I've trained with Khabib. I've trained with Michael Chandler. I've trained Jared Gordon. I've trained if you go from the top of the list, number one, all the way down to that on the teetering edge, Esteban Rikovic. These guys are all my friends, and these guys are all guys that are extremely talented, and we've sharpened each other. But I also know where I'm at.
Yeah, 100%. It's one more question I got for you, and then we'll let you get up out of here. If I'm not mistaken, Ian Gary was one of your teammates, correct?
Yeah, I've trained with Ian.
So Ian has a fight now. I'm kind of pissed about this one too because Carlos Process was supposed to fight on UFC 314. And I was excited to see that fight because I'll be down there. I'm coming down there next week. But I was super excited to see that fight. But now he's not fighting him, and he's fighting your boy Ian Gary. So I want to know your thoughts on this fight and this matchup. Ian Gary's got with Carlos Pradas.
I think it's the most exciting fight to make. And I think that the way that the world works is the most exciting thing happens. So I don't know who I'm gonna give the nod to. I think they're both in terms of talent, probably the two most talented guys in the weight class, but it's also a lifestyle, and I don't know them well enough to speak on it, but I don't agree with either of their lifestyles.
Yeah.
So I don't know who's gonna win because when you take work and then you take talent and then you take lifestyle, it all factors in. And I think the work and the talent, they're on the same level, and their mindsets are different, but some of the sharpest in the UFC, but their lifestyles is, I don't know. So I think that leaves a little bit more room for chance and luck than I would like. So I think it could go either way.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. And I'll tell you this, though, and I was thinking this to myself, right? I was sitting there talking to my girl about it, too. I was like, the fighting nerds have the most aura in the UFC, ever, as a group. When you really think about it, right? First, you got Kyle. He speaks for himself. He's just this full-out warrior. He don't care. He's just crazy. He just did pit submission in Karate Combat 2. And
I was there
talked
in
to him
Denver.
afterwards.
That was awesome, man. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
that shit was crazy. So
He's the Joe Rogan at LFA too, right?
yeah.
I always see him on there doing the interviews.
I love that, man. I love that.
Yeah, he's dope. So then you got him, right? Then after that, you got Carlos Pradas, who we just talking about, right? This motherfucker smoking cigarettes before he fights, smoking cigarettes after he fights, hitting Howler Monkey after fights on the octagon, right? Just insane. He's just not supposed, if you seen him, he was probably at a bar smoking and taking shots 2 weeks before a fight. You're like, he's not a UFC fighter. There's no way.
But that's the
Crazy.
mind.
Yeah, insane. Then you got Rufy, who thinks he's Luffy from One Piece and is absolutely insane. He's just crazy with striking, out of this world. Who am I missing?
Gene Silva.
Gene Silva, bro. We're not even. Look, Gene Silva is just insane. All right, he's just insane. That motherfucker's crazy.
I love that guy.
And I'm not gonna lie, man. So I watch a lot of fighting, but I don't watch the fights that are live.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of film, and I study the greats, and I also study what people are doing right now. But I don't watch too many live fights. Those guys I tune in, every time they're fighting, and I think in life and especially this sport, there's something about energy. If you look at Connor's rise, if you look at when Ian Gary was first rising, and now you're seeing the fighting nerds, there's something about energy, man, and those guys got it.
Yeah.
And sometimes, man, that's the catalyst you need to take you to the top.
100%, bro. The aura is
Sage,
definitely there for them.
Sage got that
And
too.
that's how that's how you get on cards. And you put ass in seats, that's how you get on cards. It's simple as that, right? It don't matter. That's how Sean O'Malley is fighting Dualis Billy again. Because why? Sean O'Malley has a massive fan base. He puts ass in seats. He sells tickets. So we're gonna give him another shot, right?
It's
So
cool that you said that, man, because in the beginning of my career, I had this energy. I'm the savage. I'm this, and then I talked about that 2 year stint where I really had to find myself and define myself. And I can't. I don't think that you can really have aura if you don't know who you are. And
yeah,
I feel like that's what martial arts is about, and that's what those guys represent. And when you have that aura, you have that energy. Other people are attracted to it. And I think I found mine through. I mean, you could just see my brand. You know, there's
yeah,
Richie Lewis and then there's Richie Savage. I'm a family man, a God fearing man. You know, this is my lifestyle. And then I step in the cage and
the
I'm a kid.
savage.
I'm a
Yeah,
killer.
that's
I got that killer instinct. So I'm ready to show my aura. And you talking about that, it gets me excited when you talk about that
let's
aura
go.
because I've built it and I'm ready to show mine. You know.
Let's go, man. Well, I listen. I think we're all in full agreement that you will show that in South Dakota. We'll all be rooting for you here from the Warriors Voice Cast for your title defense. We know you're gonna get the job done, man. And go share fashion in the viral moment. We know how it goes, baby. But before we let you go, always we do this. Let the athletes at the end of the interview, we let you speak whatever you want to do, man. This last whatever you want to take time right here is for you to speak about anything, any brands. You can talk about your fight, whatever you want to talk about. This last part is for you. And also, we appreciate you for giving your time to us. And hopefully, it's not the last time we see you on the podcast. Hopefully, we get to see you after your fight. But this is for you. The floor is for you. Whatever you want to talk about right now to end it off, it's all yours, brother.
I'm gonna give you two, okay?
All right,
Go shit, no ho shit. That's how we come in.
let's go.
And then I'm gonna show you the Richie Lewis, man. There's nothing better than having a relationship with God, and there's nothing better in my life than being a devout Christian. If you could give everything to Him, I receive so I can give, and really that's how I found myself was through Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, and through this God energy. And if anyone out there is looking to be saved, going through a hard time, going through a good time, always turn your attention, your love, and everything towards Christ and towards God.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing, man. Religion helps keep people grounded, man, and helps keep them have a purpose in life. You know what I'm saying? So if you find that, man, if you need that, find it, baby. Richie, we appreciate you. Uh, we know you're gonna get it done, Savage. We see Richie now, but we'll see the Savage come out. When exactly is the fight date? So we don't, so we let the people can know.
April 18th, you can catch it on UFC Fight Pass.
There you go. UFC Fight Pass, same place you can see Karate Combat. So for all you motherfuckers who watch that Karate Combat, bada bing, make sure you check my man out, LFA champ, Richie Savage Lewis, in the fucking building. Let's go. Oh, there he is. Yes, sir. Big man in the house.
You
Appreciate you,
motherfuckers
bro.
better tune in, you hear me? The
Yeah.
Savage is coming.
Let's
Hey,
go.
Apollo, we're betting big that week.
Betting big that week. Let's go. Appreciate you, Savage, man. Take it easy. Good. Best of luck. I'll see you soon. When are you leaving for South Dakota?
I'm gonna leave next Tuesday.
Exactly when I get there. That's crazy.
I'll see you there.
All right. See you. Deuces, brother.